My name is Dr. Symphronia Taylor, my own nonprofit called the Beta Group Incorporated. And through Beta Group Incorporated and through some of the other things I'm doing in life experiences, I've been wanting to do tours and travel. A few years ago, I took a trip to Canada and absolutely loved it. And so I want to start including travel more in my life and lifestyle. And not just travel, but things that'll help gain skills or gain experiences. And so that is the reason why I'm coming to you today and asking you to join me on the Black Experience Tour. EF Tours is somebody I've been talking to different staff members over the years. And they have this last couple of years, I guess COVID inspired, have come up with some great tour opportunities. And a lot of these tour opportunities are opportunities that allow you to gain some skills as well. And so that is the reason for me picking this particular tour, because you can go on a tour, but you can also gain some skills while you're on that tour. So give me a second while I share my screen. So this is the tour that we are proposing, the Black Experience, London, Paris, and Amsterdam. It will be a 10-day tour. It starts May 15th, 2023 to May 24th, 2023. The enrollment deadline is February 9th, so you have to be enrolled by that date in order to take the tour. We'll talk about some of the pricing structures momentarily. First, let's talk about the itinerary. So some of you may be familiar with a TV series called Bridgerton. There's some other TV series, Downton Abbey, things of that nature. But the reason I note Bridgerton is that you see the Black experience from a particular aspect, and a lot of it is mixing truth and some fantasy together. And then at the same time Bridgerton was going on, we also had a lot of protests in this country, Black Lives Matter movement. And so for those of us who are interested in either training some of the future generation about some of the truth of the Black experience, those who might be in the diversity and inclusion area, or those who are thinking about going into that area, this is, I think, a very good skills-based tour, but also a tour where you can have fun. So EF has several tours, and the reason I chose this one is that we can gain some skills and experience. There's also opportunity to explore on your own, and so you can also have fun at the same time. So I hope this tour is able to bring together the desires that not only I have about having fun and learning something, but I hope that is the reason for you wanting to take this tour as well. Let's look at the itinerary for the tour. As I said, we will do London, Paris, then Amsterdam. So we will fly overnight to England. Currently, we'll be departing from Memphis. As you log on and register for the Black Experience, you can determine which airport you want to leave from, and your costs will be determined by that airport that you leave from. So just because ours says Memphis doesn't mean that has to be the airport you can leave from. It will coordinate, EF will coordinate so that you can leave from the airport of your choice. So we'll have an overnight flight to England. We'll go to London, meet our tour director. One of the things I missed when I went to Canada is having a tour director. So I think this will be a really great added benefit for us. And as we're working with our tour director, again, we'll get to see London through the lens of the Black experience in England. We'll go on a walking tour led by the tour director. We'll explore in-depth excursions. With these excursions, you have the opportunity to sign up for them or not sign up for them. So one of the first excursions you get an opportunity to choose is the London Eye. And the London Eye, if you've ever seen a movie about England in London, it is that big 40-story capsule observation that offers spectacular views of London. All right, so this is what the London Eye looks like. So you'll have an opportunity to go on the London Eye and have an in-depth excursion. And so you get to choose if you want to do that or not. You also will, on that first day, will have a dinner in London, enjoy a nice dinner in London. On day 3, we'll go to a particular institution. Again, this is where we start getting some of the skills-based information. This institution is called the Black Curriculum. It's an organization focused on British history to just get an overview of who they are, who their services are, what they do. And so they will have a presentation for us. And again, if you are a person who is interested in diversity and inclusion, I think this will be very beneficial. They also have some online learning resources. You can take advantage of those now. So I think that is going to be really exciting as well. So we'll also visit the British Museum, and we'll have a guide to learn about some of the artifacts and collections from Black history and the Black history experience. On day 4, we'll get to visit a cultural hub, tour Brixton, an Afro-Caribbean cultural hub in London. And so again, we'll talk about Black cultural archives. We'll get to see a heritage center and talk about the African Caribbean people in Britain. As a person who's from New Orleans, Louisiana, I'm very familiar with how the African culture, the French culture, and the Spanish culture combined in my city. And so it's interesting to see that in a international European perspective. And so I think, again, that's a very beneficial experience when we talk about the Black experience. On day 5, we're going to take the Eurostar train to Paris. I love trains. That's going to be exciting for me. We're going to see Paris through the lens of the Black experience in France. We'll take a walking tour. So again, as you're preparing for this year, just prepare to know that some of these events will have some walking. So just prepare for that mentally. We'll get to visit some really great characteristic areas of Paris. The Arc de Triomphe, something I've seen in movies and I'm sure you have as well. For many, many years. It honors those who fought for France in the French Revolution and the Napoleonic Wars. We'll enjoy dinner in Paris. This is the second excursion. This is a jazz evening, and we'll get to go to a night of jazz music. And it says jazz began in Paris during the First World War, and it just exploded as Black soldiers from the US fled segregation and settled in Paris. So, and even today, you might remember there are lots of movies about famous actors, actresses who've gone to Paris and influenced the music there. So that'll be an exciting excursion. But again, you'll get to enjoy either this excursion or enjoy Paris on your own. So again, that's another choice for you. On day 6, we'll discover the diverse African-American communities in Paris and visit Little Africa, different neighborhoods, markets, cuisine, fashion, and more. And then we'll enjoy lunch in Little Africa. We'll visit the Louvre on day 7. If you've ever seen a movie, the Louvre is that glass pointed triangular structure. It's famous in several movies. So we'll get to actually go in there, and that is where the Mona Lisa is housed as well. Day 8, we'll get to go from Paris to Amsterdam, again by train. Amsterdam is the largest city in the Netherlands. Again, we'll get to see the Netherlands. You don't really think about that connection of the Netherlands through the Black experience. And so that'll be very interesting. We'll go on a boat cruise as well while we are there. And Amsterdam is just a beautiful city. If you've ever looked it up on the internet, Google it before our trip, and you'll just see how absolutely gorgeous it is. But it's also the area where a lot of historic events happen. And so when you talk about cultural diversity, when you talk about the Holocaust and what happened with Jews during the Holocaust. And so Amsterdam, we're going to look at an activity connected to Anne Frank, who wrote several journals during the period of the Holocaust, because her and her family were in hiding because of their Jewish heritage. So that'll be interesting to look at that diversity and equity from that perspective as well. And then we might be a little tired, so on day 10, then we will depart for home. So as you can see, I think it's a very exciting itinerary. So let's think about some of the to-dos. The only one I want to really bring to your attention is the passport. Passports, it's still a great delay for passports. So 2023 might seem like a long way away, but you need to get your passport now and enter your passport information on the page that we're going to talk about in a little bit. So go ahead and request that passport. It's going to take a few months. Go ahead and request it so that it's not something that lags behind and prevents you from going on the trip. So as we look at the group page, once you are listed on the group page, you'll sign in. I haven't put my information in yet, but you'll sign in. You'll be able to see who's going and print out a list of who's going and filter the list. You do want to sign in to this page, put your information in as an interested traveler as well. There are several items on this page to put your information in. Emergency contacts is very important so that as we're traveling, we can have the emergency contact for everyone. So make sure that as you're signing up for the trip, you put in emergency contacts. Sign up for the particular excursions that you want to go to. We are going to be joining another group, and so the cost that is listed right now is in anticipation of us joining another group. But if we as a group get enough members, we can continue to get additional discounts for our travel costs. So as we look at the overview page, I'm just going to go back to there for a second. It shows you right now what our costs, shows you how much it is for a room with 3 people and a room for 2 people. You can also request a single room, but of course with every request, as you can see, the cost will go up a little bit. So again, it's important for you to go ahead and register so that we can start getting more of those discounts. All right, we'll go back to the group tab. All right, so let's look at roommate assignments. Just again, you can work with who you want to roommate with. We can do room assignments for our program. For standard accommodation for travelers 29 and younger are rooms 3 or 4 and are assigned while abroad. A traveler age 30 or older is typically in a room for 2. And again, you have to sign up in time so that you can get the room assignment of your choice. All right, the last thing I want to just talk about in general today is the COVID-19 Safe Traveler Agreement. And you can go ahead and download this agreement so that you can look at it in depth. Now, just currently the thing to know is right now there are some countries like France that are asking you to either have your vaccination or 72 hours before your flight to have the COVID test. As we get closer to our travel date, EF will advise us of which countries are requiring what. Don't fret right now about what the policy is going to be for COVID. We'll find that out. Go ahead and register. You don't have to put your payments in or anything right now. Just go ahead and register so that we know we're going forward with this. And then as we get a little closer to 2023, we'll definitely, before that February date, and probably the end of 2022, we will know what the COVID procedures will be. But do read through this, because whatever the procedure is, you will have to agree to it. And so just take this as a sample of what you will have to agree to. Read through it carefully, because you will have to sign this agreement and you will have to agree. So if you have a particular issue and you've signed this agreement, there is going to be a fee if you don't get the COVID procedures completed. But again, that is not something to worry about right now, because as we get closer to the travel, we will know the COVID procedures. All right, but still go ahead and read through the COVID form so that you are familiar with it. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now, and we're going to just talk about a couple of things. Again, the reason for inviting you to this tour, the Black Experience, is that I hope we will be able to gather some knowledge. Those of you who are in any kind of teaching, training, workshop development, we know that diversity and inclusion is very important now in our culture, in our workplaces, in our schools, in our homes. And so I hope that this experience will be able to gain some skills in that area. It's also a fun and exciting tour. You have the opportunity for excursions. You have historical places. So if you're a history buff, this is a great tour for you. And even though it's called the Black Experience, as you see, we talk about some of the diversity issues other than those who are African American or Afrocentric. We also talk about some of the Holocaust diversity and inclusion issues. So I think no matter what your background, you will love coming on this tour. You will really enjoy it. So I hope that you will join me. Here is the tour. information right above here in this link. So efcollegestudytours.com/personal/my-tours/247-YX/overview. And this is how you can get to my particular tour. It is 2470957. So we look forward to an exciting tour May 15th through May 24th, the Black Experience Tour with Dr. Symphonia Taylor. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you soon.